Hello, welcome to What's New with Canvas. This is the Winter 2026 edition. We do this workshop because Canvas is constantly changing. They are always pushing out new updates, fixing bugs, adding new features, and so we are trying to keep you up to date with what is new in Canvas. We can't cover all of the changes, but this presentation will try to cover the changes that are most important or most likely to affect your Canvas courses. As always, if you ever need help, please reach out to us at fschelp@kvcc.edu. You can contact our hotline at 488-4715. And presenting today is myself, Haley Kaziski, and my colleague, Elizabeth Orgeron. First today, we're going to be going over some changes within the gradebook. The first one is a status change for color blindness. This change adds icons to the gradebook for the assignment status. To enable this, you're going to go to the grades page, click the settings icon, which is this little cog. Select view options. And once you do that, you'll see this pane right here, this gradebook settings pane. And you're going to select view status for color blindness and then apply settings. Once you do that, it's going to make all of your columns in the gradebook have these color codes if these different things apply to the assignments. If none of these different categories apply, the cell will just be the plain gray. But if an assignment is late, it will be the blue and it will have this special late icon. If it's missing, it'll be red and it will have this missing icon. Excused gets this check icon and the color. Dropped has this crossed out icon and this little darker gray. Resubmitted has this icon and this green. So instead of having to remember what the different colors mean, this adds these different icons in, which is a nice feature. You can enable this and disable this whenever you want. You can try it out, and if you don't like it, you can go back into this gradebook settings, disable this and apply, and it will get rid of those for you. Next up is the view hidden grades indicator. You always have an option to hide grades from students if you would like. That way they don't show on their end, they only show for you. If you hide grades, they are not calculated in the student's side of their gradebook, so they may be seeing a different final grade than you, just something to keep in mind. When you do hide a grade, previously the only indicator was this little hidden eye icon up here at the top, and now we have the option to add this other indicator, which is these orange dots in the gradebook. That's nice because it's a little bit more obvious that this is being hidden than just this one eye icon. The different color especially makes it more obvious. So to enable this setting, you're going to go again to the grades page, the settings cog, view options. You're going to check the view hidden grades indicator and click apply settings. So both of these options that we've talked about are in this gradebook settings window. The other one is down here and this one is just above. You can put both of these on and off whenever you'd like. The next feature is very new. It's called Submit as a Student. So if you've ever had a student say, I can't get this PDF to upload, or, I don't have enough bandwidth to get this to submit, or I've tried a dozen times, I can't get this to go through, and you really wish you could just submit it for them. Maybe you've had them email it to you, but you didn't have a way to get it into Speedgrader. Now you have a way to do that. So Submit as a Student allows you to put the assignment in for them. It only works on assignments with a file submission. It doesn't work for quizzes, discussions, or assignments with a different file type. For instance, it doesn't work if they have to directly type their assignment in. It doesn't work for assignments where they have to do like a peer review or something. It only works if they are actually uploading something, because the Submit as a Student is an upload feature. When you do the upload, it appears exactly as if the student had done the upload themselves. So the way to do it is to get to the gradebook. You find the spot where the student's grade would appear if you had actually had a student assignment to grade. You click the little icon right here, which opens the student panel on the right side of the gradebook, and this new button, Submit for Student, will appear. When you click that, a new panel open that'll have like a select file option, just like any select file option box. You can click it and find the file on your device, and it will upload into Speedgrader. And then when you go into Speedgrader, you grade it normally, just like any other student's assignment. There's not really any indicator that you were the one to submit it. It looks like the student submitted it. It doesn't make it look weird or strange or knock the student at all. It just is that you were uploading it for them. The next feature is scheduling feedback. So if you want to have the grades and the feedback come out at different times, so comments and grades come out at different times, you can now do that. By default, they release together. So if you don't ever touch this, that's okay. It just means that your comments and your grades come together. If you are using this feature, the comments do have to come out before the grades. Right now, they don't have it set for the grades to ever be able to come out before the comments. Manually releasing the grades before the scheduled release time does override the schedule. So if you have this set up and you end up manually releasing the grades, it kind of cuts this off and releases everything, the grades and the comments. So the way to do this is within your gradebook, you hit the three little dots icon on the column of the assignment in the gradebook. You go to grade posting policy. And this grade posting policy box will show up on the right. It's a very, very long box. You're going to have to scroll down. You change it from automatically to manually, and then scroll. You're going to select schedule release dates. And instead of having grades and comments go together, you're going to select separate schedules and choose when you want those to come out. Remember that when using this feature, you do have to have the comments come out before the grades. Otherwise, it will not work. Next, we're going to look at some Speedgrader updates. This main update is just a update for overall look and functionality. The first one is an updated section and status drop-down menus. So they updated how these nesting menus look. Just the little arrows that you do here, how they drop down. It's just a little bit more streamlined now than it used to be. You may not even notice, but it's just a little bit more organized. They changed the rubrics layout a bit. So here's one of the rubrics. There's a more clear layout for the criteria scoring. These used to be a little bit more haphazard, kind of cattywampus in where the lines were. They did try to finally make them a little bit straighter up and down. There's an easy to use comment criteria box under each criteria. This used to be a little comment icon that you had to select. It wasn't super obvious, and now it's much more obvious. The comment workflow is much easier. You just click right into the box. And because they enabled these updates, it is a faster way to do it and able to handle larger loads. There were some glitches that were slowing people down in Speedgrader, and these updates are on the back end able to handle larger loads so that those glitches aren't happening nearly as often. Overall, you won't notice a huge change. You should just notice that it's a little bit easier than it used to be before. The next one is the comment library. If you didn't know that there was a comment library, hello, welcome to the comment library. It lives in Speedgrader under this little tiny comment bubble icon. This is a place where you can house comments that you use frequently. So if you are commonly saying, please redo this, or great work on this, keep up the good work, or if there is a comment that you commonly use on one specific assignment even, you can save it and be able to select it and reuse it without having to type it over and over again. Now you have the option to save comments for a specific course or a specific assignment. It used to be that all comments were just kind of jumbled together. They're all there for all your courses, but now if you're looking for one specifically for this assignment, you can quickly narrow them down as well, which is this new filter suggestion. You can filter by all comments, just this course, or even this assignment. You can still edit and delete all of your comments, which is right here. And you can still type in and have it autofill. So if you know how your comment starts with please redo, if you start typing that, it will kind of start to autofill the box, and you can select that comment to have it fill in. Next with Speedgrader is you can now use screen recording on your video comments. So previously you could record yourself while doing your video comment. Now you can actually record the screen, which is nice because you can point out what you are talking about in your annotations or in an image or whatever you're showing them. Probably more important than them seeing you in the comment. It does have to be in Chrome or Edge. It can't be in Firefox or Safari. It takes a few minutes for it to load and render, so if you do it and you don't see the video right away, that's okay. When I did it, it took maybe even up to 5 minutes for just this one video to render. So I went back a little bit later and found it, and it was fine. I think you could do it, and I would maybe check your first one. After that, you may not even need to check. And I have a quick example here to show you. Here's an assignment, and over here, I've made a video comment. So as you can see, I'm able to point out things in the image that I'm talking about, so I can point directly to it. If this was an essay, I could point out exactly what I was talking about in the essay, read directly off of the essay as I spoke to them, even highlight or annotate as I go. I could comment through the annotation so they could see what I was thinking. That would be really nice. So a pretty cool feature that they've added there. The next new feature is the Speedgrader video comments. They are also offering auto captioning on those video comments. Accessibility law states that all videos that we have on our sites have to have captioning for accessibility purposes, and these videos will have them automatically, which is great. Within a few minutes of uploading, they will have the auto captions. They, again, after the rendering, take a few more minutes. If students don't see them automatically, they may need to click the closed captioning button, which is the CC button. They're not 100% accurate. You can download them, edit them, and re-upload them if needed. You can also move them to the top or bottom of the screen. To do that, you use this little settings cog, and there are some other settings. You can also invert the colors so that it's a lighter background behind the letters and a darker font. And we'll see an example here. There are some kind of silly mistakes in this. I'm hoping that with time, their whatever program they're using will get a little bit more accurate. Let's see here in just a second. Composition and shadowing. I love the details on the bins and the back on the thing. Great job. So it's easy to read. They are in time with my words. Just some mistakes on the words. Maybe I'm not enunciating quite enough, but there are some options there. It is a nice feature. Next is the resizing of the rich content editor. The rich content editor is this box where you put in your content. It's on assignments, it's on pages, it's anywhere where you're giving directions. Previously, to change the size of this, there was a little box here that you would drag to make it bigger or drag to make it smaller. They've changed this interface to either click this plus button or this minus button to make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. There's also this double-sided arrow, which makes it full screen right away. So they've changed that to be a little bit more accessible. The arrow to resize it was really finicky, so that plus and minus are nice bigger buttons. Unfortunately, they're not super obvious what they are. So if you didn't know, you might think the plus was adding something to the content editor and the minus was taking something away rather than resizing. Remember that that double arrow does make it full screen, and then to bring it back, it's a double arrow pointing inward. And now we'll be on to Elizabeth.
All right, so the next updates are going to be within new quiz. They have some new features. The first one is going to be graded and ungraded surveys have been added. So when you go and you collect a quiz type and you select new quiz, now you will have an option bar for a graded quiz, a graded survey, and an ungraded survey. Graded surveys will just appoint points once it is complete. And then ungraded is an ungraded assignment. You do have the option to do the survey anonymously. And then to view your survey results, you would need to go within the quiz and click the build button. And then at the top of your page, you get this bar and you would go to your reports to view your results. The next added feature to new quiz is build on last attempt. So if you have multiple attempts for your quizzes and you would like students to be able to only correct the ones that they got wrong, we now have that option. You go into the quizzes settings. You have to turn on allow multiple attempts, and then you get these bars for options. You can choose to keep the score to the highest. And then you have your amount of attempts you are going to let them have, and then your options for a waiting period. And then you will click on enable build on last attempt. Students will not have to retake questions they answered correctly, so they're only given the incorrect ones. Instructor graded questions like essays or file uploads would need to be graded before the student goes in for their next attempt, or it will not show up on their second attempt. So that is a good reason possibly to use your waiting period if you need to grade one of their questions before they try again. This is the student view, so it does tell them how many attempts they can take, and it tells them that they are building on their last attempt. If there is feedback from the instructor, student will need to open the first attempt to review that feedback. All right, and the next inside of new quiz is a migrate classic quiz into new quiz. So now we have the option if you had classic quiz and you're wanting to move to new quiz, they have a pretty easy steps for you. You'll go to your quizzes tab on the left-hand side of your course. And then you will locate the classic quiz you are migrating. You go to the kebab of that quiz, which is your 3 dots, and you will select migrate, and then the migrate will start. Just a reminder, if you have a filled-in rocket, that is how you know it is a new quiz. A hollow rocket is a classic quiz. It does, however, will give you an error and will not work if you have question banks from your classic quiz. They cannot migrate that over since that feature is not within new quiz. One reason or a couple of reasons you might want to move to new quiz is new quiz does get the new features. So they have options like print answer banks, requiring waiting time between multiple attempts, or shuffling answers per question. New quiz has quite a few different features than classic quiz, and we will link in the video description the Canvas article that goes through all of those changes. All right, and then within new quiz itself, we have some new question types and question type updates. The first one is the hotspot question. You can select more than one area to be right now. So students you can mark multiple areas that are correct, and as long as they select in one of those areas, they will be marked correct. The text block option is not connected with a question to add additional information. So now you may add text box in new quizzes that just have text or pictures, and then you can place those within your test. Text boxes can also be now item banked as well. The last addition to question types is the stimulus option. So this is for if you maybe have an image that students are needing to analyze or a graph, you can have that on one side of your screen and then the question on the right or left side. And to do this, we go to add a question, and at the bottom, you'll see stimulus or text box. You'll select stimulus. You will fill in the title. You will paste or upload your contents into the RCE, and then you will select the orientation of where you want the stimulus versus where you want the questions, and then you will click done. Another new item in new quizzes is detect multiple sessions. We're going to go into Canvas for this one. So when I'm in my new quiz, I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to select build. And from build, I need to go into my settings. And I'm going to turn on my detect multiple sessions. And then from the instructor standpoint, where you see this is going to be in our moderate option up here. So as you can see, I had one student take this. If I want to check and make sure there was not multiple sections, I go to this view log option. And as I'm viewing the log, I see that she did get dinged for multiple sessions detected. So maybe she had multiple tabs open of it, multiple screens. And then it also just gives me an overview of everything Alice was doing during her test. But this is where you can see if multiple sessions were detected. On the roadmap, they do have that it will have the exclamation point right here. That feature is not quite ready, but in the coming months, they believe they'll have it from this screen. All right, back to our presentation. Yep, so you can view log instructions and can see all your student activity. All right, moving on to the discussion updates. So discussion's got a whole new look. And one of the first ones we're going to do is when you're creating your discussion, some of the new settings they have when creating. So you have new options to customize how students view the discussion. So view, we have expanded, which means everybody's comments and replies would be shown and you need to scroll down. Collapse, you would have your replies pulled up and students would have to hit the arrows and expand to view replies. So students get the option to choose which one they would like unless you lock these for students in your setting. So if you want your students to only be able to see expanded, you can click expanded and then lock them into that view. The same idea goes for default sort order, so oldest first or newest first. And again, if you want your students to not have the option to change that, you can lock that feature as well. And then redesign the discussion view bar to personally edit these settings if options are not locked. So for your screen and the student's screen, they get those options to edit at the top. All right, discussion link copy and quoting. So within students or instructors are replying, you have two new options on how you reply. If you are wanting to reply to discussion and you want to quote somebody else, we now have that option. So you open the discussion post, you go to the post you want to copy or quote. So in this one, Alice quoted Bender, so she had to go to Bender's quote first. Click the kebab and then chose to quote reply. Same idea for a link. So maybe it's a really long response and you just want to link that response that you're commenting on. So you can go to the response and you can hit copy link and then type your reply out. All right, files updates also got a new look. So now when you open files, it will automatically be in the new view. So in this new view, we have some navigational changes where we can select all files. We can select individual files. We now can use headers to sort your files. So you can sort by name, creation date, last modified, and modified by who and the size. If this is not how you want to look at your files, we currently do have the switch to the old files page. There's not a plan right now to get rid of this button from Canvas, but that could be coming. And then we have a view your files and other courses. So if I am in maybe my in-person course and I want something from my online course, I can go to all my files and all files from all my courses will be there. And then I can copy one over to the other. And up here on 5, we have move files into new folders or edit permissions. When you select edit permissions, you have the option to publish and unpublish items. You can turn items only available with a link, and you can schedule when available. If you are needing help with any of these new Canvas features, please feel free to reach out to us at the Faculty Success Center, whether it be our lab hours, through email, the hotline, or the support hub.